Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about something that I have noticed over many, many years as a lifter and a coach, and that is the fact that I see trends in people regarding the way that they train their back and who actually has fantastic back development or not. And this is something that really needs to be discussed because in my experience, because I see all the stuff that comes through Reels, I see all this stuff on all my social media, even though I don't watch YouTube. I see tons of Reels come through Facebook, come through Instagram, of a variety of influencers telling people how to train their back who have no back development. And sometimes these are people who, have pretty good sized arms, they have shoulders, they have abs, they have a certain look, and so therefore people assume they know what they're talking about. But then when you see them from behind, they literally look like they've never trained their back in their life. Like, to me at least, to someone who's been around a lot of really strong people for decades, and this has, been a major part of my lifestyle, they just simply don't have a back. And some of them are even fairly popular YouTubers and things. And it's just like, how could you not have any back? But then what's the things that you see them promoting? Almost always, without fail, and this is going all the way back to my early YouTube, because I got into some debates with some guys who really were weak and small, who were still, putting out content a decade ago during the OG YouTube fitness days, who were talking about nonsense like, oh, we need to do the best lat exercises or to do these movements where we take a cable crossover and we perfectly line up the angle of pull with the fiber alignment in our back. Okay, which is absolutely ludicrous, by the way. It's an absolutely ludicrous concept because you're not lining anything up with the fibers as far as what they're doing internally, because they're on the other side of a joint. Okay, and let that one sink in for a moment. They're talking about fibers through the lats and lat angles, even though the lat sprays out to pretty wide angles is the way it inserts all the way up the spine and the traps as well, because you're working traps and lats and all that with these pulling movements. They would pull nonsense like, oh yeah, but it's like they're on the other side of a tendon. All of that connects to the shoulder joint. Like, do you not see how this is completely irrelevant to the tension being placed? Like, you're just ignoring basic physics, trying to be clever, and it's not even scientific because there's no evidence for it. And it's not even based upon a good rationale. So you'll see nonsense like that, and then lo and behold, these guys all have no back. You'll also see people talking about, getting a squeeze and contraction. You got to squeeze the lats together and hold them at the top. Okay, well, that's not evidence-based either. That's not evidence-based either. The more bro guys actually have it right. Just lift heavy-ass weight with your back. Done. But here's the problem with that. It's not because there's a problem with, say, the concept of a mind-muscle connection. There's some EMG data to support that. There's at least some evidence. But the evidence suggests that those shortened positions in general have the least hypertrophic potential. So essentially people they're wasting energy focusing on the part of the range of motion that has the least potential to actually grow muscle. And they're doing so at the expense of putting better mechanical tension on the muscle at the lengthened positions. All right, so what does that mean? When your lats are stretched more. Okay, so on a row, that's when your arms are forward. It's basically when your arms are closer to locked out. Okay, those are the points that actually have the most tension, whether it's a horizontal or a vertical pull. That's the points that have the most tension. The other, you're just trying to get an isometric at the point with the least benefits, which ironically would be worked even harder on a deadlift. It's funny, you'll get the same people who will want you to squeeze those lats with a lightweight don't seem to realize that on a deadlift you're doing the same thing, but with a much, much heavier tension being applied for that contraction, because you're holding it in that position and you're supporting a really heavy weight. Okay. So even if you wanted that isometric contraction at the peak, the deadlift does it far better. And I mean any type of deadlift. I don't care what type of deadlift. Romanian deadlift even. Yeah, sumo deadlift. Doesn't matter. So these people focus on nonsense and they spread it like it's important. And even then people say, but they look good. Okay, they look good to you, but they don't have any back development. So why would you listen to them about back development? You know, I might not have the best arms in the world because of my bicep insertions and having torn one. So maybe people will discount my bicep development. A lot of people will, and they'll say, well, he must not know anything about training biceps. But they won't apply the same logic to these guys who have like zero back development. Like, it's laughable. So who has the big backs? People who move big workloads on rows, pull-ups, deadlifts. And I mean, sure, okay, we could exchange pull-ups for lat pull-downs. I think pull-ups are better. But I don't think lat pull-downs are useless. They have their place, right? They still work. I just think pull-ups overall are a better exercise. Doesn't mean a lat pull-down's not good. Let me make that clear. Because it absolutely can be. But people who can do a lot of pull-ups, I mean, relative to their body weight, it's not a big deal for a 150-pound guy to crank out a bunch of pull-ups. You're over 200 pounds, it is. Right? Pull-ups. Everyone who's good at pull-ups has pretty wide lats. Rows. Everyone who does lots of volume on rows has a thick back. They usually have lats. They usually have rear delts, traps. Deadlifts, same thing. It just makes that back thicker. You show me somebody who moves reasonable workloads, and again, we're talking workloads. I'm not just meaning a 1 rep max. Okay. Talking about quality volume here. People who move respectable workloads on those 3 movements, no matter what else they do, almost always have good back development. Observe it for yourself. Go find the guys at your gym who deadlift anything 500 plus, who can crank out a pretty decent number of pull-ups, and who can row with any form of row a pretty respectable amount of weight regularly. And look at their back. Look at their back and compare it to half these silly guys who are out here promoting the other stuff. And again, ignore the rest of their body. A lot of those guys have great arms. They have great shoulders a lot of times, okay? But they don't have a back. It's neither wide nor thick. Okay, because lats make it wide and the other stuff makes it thick. Traps, rear delts, rhomboids, you know. It's where you get your thickness, and the lats kind of give you the width. It's just easy to notice here. You can notice the difference. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.